Farmgirls.ie.
I am Nosferatu. Check out my penis.
Starving Arts podcast. Do you already know what it is?
Yeah, or maybe not.
Maybe they don't know what it is.
Maybe they don't.
Maybe we should chat about the big news in the news at the minute. Of course.
Oh, is it
It's the
Donny Man?
No, it's the TikTok ban.
Oh, shit. Well, it's back up now, I think.
I know, yeah,
Because of Trump.
Yeah, the Donny Man replaced it.
Yeah.
But do you think that if TikTok goes in America, Britain will follow?
Yeah.
What does that mean for us?
What does that mean for us? It means that we've got to be, like, so ear to the floor with the social media stuff. I was saying to you during the week. Yeah, no.
You're just shagging it, man.
So I was saying to you during the week, like, there's gonna be a replacement. You know what I mean? Like, people are too addicted to it to not have anything now.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So either they're gonna go back to familiar platforms like Instagram and, you know,
Which I think that'd be the ideal scenario. We don't need to move on to a new fucking thing that's basically just the same as TikTok. You know what I mean? Like, Instagram's already half the same as TikTok.
The thing is, there's a reason that people moved off Instagram into TikTok in the first place. Like,
is it by chance the addictive nature of the endless scroll and short form content?
Yeah. But like, if that's what the consumer wants, that, you know what I mean?
Like, and you are right, like, once you've given them, you can't take it back. You know what I mean?
So there's going to be a it's like the thank you. Here's what's happening is there was a point in time where you'd write all of your fucking information on a fucking stone, yeah. And then
We've shagged it here already. We're 2 minutes in and we fucking broke the chair. Go on, carry on.
I'm trying to chat poignant shit.
Carry on, right? Stop leaning dead far back on it.
So there was a point in time where everything was written on fucking stone tablets and then on paper, and then eventually there was radio, and then eventually there was TV, and then eventually the internet, and then it was MySpace, and then it was Facebook, and there's this constant evolution. We've found ourselves at TikTok.
Yeah.
To say, and now the ideal situation is to go backwards, one step and stay there.
Yeah.
It's never going to fucking happen. It's going to be the next thing. So, like, for us, we just need to make sure to be on all of the potential things that come forward, trying to be like, it's going to be me. Like, some American tech company will already be working on what's going to replace TikTok.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And it's going to have features that TikTok doesn't, because they're going to be trying to pick up on where TikTok could have done better.
Yeah, this is what I was going to ask you. Like,
it'll be that. We just have to make sure to be on all of them, so that then when one of them does take off, we were there at the beginning and then chilling.
Do you think that the next thing will just be another short form video platform, but with better features, or do you think like the format will change?
It's hard to say. I don't know. Because if you just straight up copy TikTok, then there's not anything new there. But then if you've taken this... So, like, the reason TikTok does well is because it's got the advantage of the consumer doesn't have to think at all.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, on Instagram, you get faced with, like, the Discover page, but there's still loads of choices.
Yeah.
You've got to decide shit for yourself. TikTok does well because you don't have to make any sort of decision other than whether or not you like the thing enough to carry on watching it. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't even have to interact with it if you don't want. You can just watch the next thing forever. So, like, taking that away from that market, the replacement could very well be a carbon copy that doesn't send your data to the Chinese government.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas if TikTok wasn't getting taken away, it would have to be something with some kind of innovation. Like the content on Instagram's already short form.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like there was the little extra little bit of like, yeah, but you don't have to think about anything, so that's our advantage. That's our thing that makes us different. If the different thing doesn't exist anymore, you can just copy that and you've got the new different thing.
But like, because this is until this TikTok ban, right? I've been thinking for a while, like, TikTok is rapidly approaching the point in a social media's life cycle where like something else will come along. Because it's always the same, right? And people who are on TikTok at the minute and like who are content creators, in America have been fucking crying about the fact that it's going to get banned or whatever.
Mm.
And like, I get it, because like, if that's your main
livelihood,
platform,
protect
you know what I
it,
mean?
don't you?
But also, I think if that is your job, like, you need to be working out, because it happens to every social media. If it didn't happen because of the ban, it happened because of someone else
Your
at
shit
some point
needs
anyway.
to be integrated. Like, that's something we've been doing in uni recently, in integrated marketing. It's the idea that, like, to have a proper brand, you need to be everywhere. If your shit is just popping on TikTok, then you're subject to whether or not TikTok's doing well.
Yeah.
If your
And
shit,
Lord, haven't we experienced that
you
firsthand?
know what I mean? Whereas if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, fucking Snapchat, LinkedIn, Pinterest, traditional marketing, you know what I mean? TV advertising, magazine advertising. If you're in fucking everything, then one of them can lag behind, one of them can completely disappear. It doesn't matter. Coca-Cola don't give a fuck that TikTok's going away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only people that give a fuck that TikTok's going away is TikTokers, which I'm sure that the coal miners felt the same when the coal mines went away, but industries don't last forever.
Yeah.
You know
well,
what I mean?
and as well, I think like the goal, obviously now it's a bit different, because TikTok went from being like just a creative platform to it reached the next stage of what social media is, which is basically it just becomes the shopping channel.
Yeah.
And like it's fucking sponsored videos and integrated promotions and all this bullshit.
It's a carousel of adverts now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So like, and people make money off that, right?
Yeah.
But also I think because you don't make any, like the money that you make from TikTok, like let's say you had an account that was doing millions of views, but you didn't do any sponsored posts, TikTok wouldn't pay you enough to live, you know what I mean, off those millions of views. So the goal should also be to get to, really, you should be funneling people from TikTok to like a longer form YouTube channel. And then the goal of any YouTuber is to get on telly. You know what I mean? Like that one, because when it was just YouTube, it was like, YouTube was the thing, and every YouTuber wanted to get onto TV or radio. And now that like TikTok exists, every TikToker should want to get on YouTube.
The goal is to get onto a fucking streaming platform, Mr. Beast style. Get on Amazon Prime and you're chilling, lad.
Yeah.
Like,
because like think about how much they must have paid Mr. Beast, because like Mr. Beast doesn't need to do that. He's like circumvented traditional media where he doesn't need to do anything for television or streaming.
The thing is, though, he gets that it's all integrated. It's
like he has to be everywhere.
Be on TV as well.
Yeah,
it's not the case that the goal is be on TV. It's to be
as well.
fucking everywhere at all times. You know what I mean? Like he's in chocolate as well.
Yeah,
and burgers. You know what I mean?
You think Mr. Beast is a psychopath?
I think
there's gonna be like. There's like someone in his basement or something, you know what I mean? And then he'll be like, it was just for a video, you know what I mean? I kept this woman in my basement for 6 years to see how she would survive.
I think he's just figured out the formula.
He's wildly autistic.
Yeah, I think there's a correct way to do YouTube. I think that he's like maximised. I don't know.
Have you seen his engagement video?
No, to be fair, I don't engage with this Mr. Beast too much.
No,
but I see a lot of people calling him the Antichrist, but that's definitely just because he's got the word beast in his name.
Right, yeah.
But like,
which, to be fair, pretty sick name. I'll give him that.
To have gotten the domain for Mr. Beast is like,
yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, especially when your real name's Jimmy.
Yeah, you need to be called something like Mr. B. But like, here's the crack, right? Back to the social media thing and the what's next thing. I had a little thought, and it's just like, I feel like there's a pain point for people, and all that these businesses are is just companies that figure out what people want to soothe themselves with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all these social media companies have been running off the, like we were saying, it becomes a carousel of adverts. It pretends that it's for connection between people, right?
Yeah.
It's fucking not. It's for adverts. That's why it's free to use, because they sell ad space. So you're the product if you're using that.
Yeah.
Like, there's companies paying this company for access to your screen so that they can have access to you.
And your data.
Yeah, and your data, and you're giving it them for free. You know what I mean? I think that one of the next things might be a more traditional social media where it's paid entry, like a subscription, cheap one. Oh, it's $5.99 a month, but there's no adverts, there's no fucking content.
See,
there's like the thing, you know what Facebook pretended that it was supposed to be before it became adverts, and Instagram before advert. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because like
YouTube already exists for the media.
It's got to make money somehow in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And like, Be Real was cool for a bit because it was like raw, but then
the only issue with Be Real is that it was a fucking needy app. I never wanted to download it because I'd see people who had it, and it found a way of making it so that the device uses you. You know what I mean? It's, oh wait, stop what we're doing right now so that we can be as real as possible.
You're right. yeah.
Look how real we're being at the gym. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah. But like, I feel like it's one of them, like, it should be encouraged for you to leave it in your fucking pocket for a while, and then if you come on, like, it's, you know what I mean?
I think more people...
see shit that you're gonna like.
More people are getting sick of the whole social media thing, though. I feel like, like, obviously there's still a large percentage of the populace that is, like, at the mercy of it, and that's fucked.
Thing
like,
is, AI's wrecked it for a lot of people, I think, you know.
What do you mean?
Because, right, so much AI generated content is now flooding all these platforms because it's an amazing way to automatically, very quickly generate a lot of content that you can put ads on your channel. So you
people
get
don't want that shit.
Yeah, you know, these people that like, oh yeah, I've got an automated YouTube channel that makes me fucking 10K. Yeah, and they just smash in the SEO on it so that if you Google best destinations to go in Austria, it'll be some AI video being like, number 1, Vienna. You can go to Vienna to see things such as Vienna Palace. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's not a real human, and it's fucking hard to watch. But it's being done by someone who doesn't give a fuck about the content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like that kind of content saturating the whole market is going to drive people to
leave.
Yeah, more creator-led platforms.
Yeah, well, and that's what drives people to leave any social media as well. I think when it becomes the less authentic it becomes, the more adverts, the more bullshit, the more like people trying to fucking swindle you, the more AI now.
Yeah,
like people still use Facebook, but like, are 13-year-olds joining Facebook now in the same way that we joined Facebook? Like, maybe, but then it's like, surely like no one is like, no 12-year-old is going to their mum, oh mum, am I allowed to make a Facebook account? You know what I mean?
No.
In the same way that we did, because like, who gives a shit now? You know what I mean? It's fucking, it's dad material these days, Facebook.
Yeah, you know I mean, the quality of the ads that you see on all these
it's your grandpappy's social media.
Like, the kinds of ads that you're seeing on even the most professional fucking ones of these apps as well now is getting so much worse. Lad, have you seen that advert on YouTube? The weight loss one?
No, I have YouTube Premium.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Fucking sick people will pay for not have these ads,
I
though.
do.
You know what I mean?
Happily do it.
But there's this new ad that comes up. It's by this company. I think it's Juniper. Right? Calling you fuckers out. Straight up, because they're lying to the people.
Right.
This Australian lady comes on and goes, did you know the medical weight loss is actually the healthiest way to lose weight? And then she starts advertising these dodgy fucking pills, being like, you've been led to believe it's all down to willpower. It's like, well, no, I've not. I've been led to believe that it's down to diet and exercise, which it fucking is. Yeah. You know what I mean? I could testify to that because my diet and exercise has gone down the fucking shitter this past 6 months, and I'm fatter than I've ever been. You know what I mean? So, but at least I know why.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And you know how to rectify it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, by fucking eating healthily and exercising. And there's an element of willpower. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But it's not, you know, a case of, oh, well, you've been sitting there thinking about getting fucking thin and It's not happened, has it? You know what I mean? So anyway, this bitch will then be like fucking saying like all this about, oh, medical weight loss is actually the healthiest way to lose weight. And then someone else comes on being like, yeah, so a lot of people think that these pills are, you know, some kind of a cheat code to get yourself thin. But, you know, it's not. It comes with its own challenges and it's, you know, its own difficulties. It's like, yeah, I bet, because you're eating poison.
Yeah.
Eating poison's not supposed to be easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it carries on like that for a while, and like fucking, I don't know, just all of the claims were just audacious as shit. And I sat there, watched it. I could have skipped it after 5 seconds and was like, I want to see what these fuckers have to say.
Yeah.
Like, claims like this, you know what I mean? What else did they try and say now? There was the thing about how it's actually quite... oh, yeah. So then I saw them advertising again in a fucking, on a newspaper, like, advert, like, article advert type thing. Being like, oh, yeah, here's the top 10 reasons that you should use these dodgy fucking weight loss pills. And it's like, number 1, they're expensive but worth it. It's like,
That's not
a benefit.
That's
Number 1, it costs loads.
that's just you trying to like beat your way round to what we're gonna say, which is a negative is it's dead expensive. You're going, oh well, a positive is it's dead expensive, but it's worth it.
One of the positives is that we're using a tactic called market skimming. You know what I mean? These crafty fucking bastards.
Yeah.
So like, and this is on YouTube. These are one of the proper ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's your so you're off Instagram and TikTok, right?
Yeah, I'm done with all that.
But you're still on YouTube.
Yeah, I've still got YouTube.
It's
on the telly, innit? It's part TV.
Yeah. Well, because I've debated.
Shit could be like an hour on YouTube.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I've debated getting rid of YouTube because I found, so I don't have Instagram and TikTok either. But
I've set myself a rule. I don't use YouTube Shorts.
yes, this is where I'm at, because I was like, I was still using YouTube Shorts sometimes, and I was like, I might as well just have fucking TikTok. So now my rule is that no YouTube Shorts. And I've even gone one step further for now, just as a little detox thing, where it's like, I'm only allowed to like listen to podcasts on YouTube. You know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's hardcore.
Yeah, it's podcast or Joe Delaney videos. Anything to a positive influence on life. You know what I mean? No, just bullshit. You know, like top 10 DC superheroes.
Yeah,
kind of videos.
I'm trying to at least find stuff that's interesting. You know what I mean? Like I watch a lot of travel videos at the moment.
Nice.
I want to see more of the world, but I'm just so fucking poor. Lad. It's just bullshit.
Yeah.
And like, I was watching videos at one point trying to be like, how can I travel for like cheap though? And it's just constantly being like, yeah, why don't you fucking get a tent and sleep in a park in like fucking Amsterdam? It's like, no. I'm not, I want to travel. I don't want to be homeless all over Europe. You know what I mean? That's not backpacking. That's just being a fucking vagrant. Like, get a job, you bum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
7 ways to get bummed in Amsterdam.
He was
Number
saying,
1, just sleep in a park.
He was saying, oh, if you're struggling to find work in the area that you've travelled to and all this, go the bins behind restaurants after they fucking finish. They chuck a load of stuff out that's sound. It's like, he was doing a TED Talk.
Was he?
This was on the TED Talk. I was like, you can't suggest.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're ever out in Thailand and you're short on cash, go round the bins.
Yeah.
You might find a burger with a Johnny on it. You know what I mean? Like, my brother, you need help.
Yeah. But stop leaning back on that, will you?
I'm just trying to be comfy.
Yeah, well, move the chair forward and then lean back just so you're not hitting the fucking computer. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so but what I'm trying to do is like social mediaify myself in a sense of like, if I'm gonna consume content, I want it to be purposeful and I want it to be like something that actually improves my mindset. You know what I mean? Rather than just mindless content for the sake of putting something on.
Are you using the app or is the app using you?
Exactly.
You can interact with any of these apps, provided that you're the one using it.
Yeah, and I think
some of them don't encourage that relationship, and
a good
I
rule,
refuse to have that engagement with them anymore. But like some of them, it's like, okay, I can be clever about how I use
Well,
it. I can use it to inform myself, and I can use it to entertain myself. But
Yeah.
actually, though, rather than being like,
Yeah. And
know
that,
what
well,
I mean?
that's also a good like rule for life. Is like, are you being intentional? Are you doing things with intention, or are you just doing shit? You know what I mean? Are you just like aimlessly floating through life, or are you being intentional about the way you
Yeah.
intentional? That's not a word. Intentional about the way that you are like spending your time.
well, let's say like your thoughts, even like
Right?
this is a
Yeah.
discussion I was having recently. Is like you can sit there and your thoughts can be absolutely leading you. You can be worrying about, oh, this thing that's happened, or this thing that's gonna happen, or this thing that is happening, or and you can feel like you have no control over the thoughts that you're having. But like a way to break out of that can be to just sit there and just actively think nothing thoughts. You know what I mean? Just go. That is a keyboard.
Yeah.
That wall is white. And just slowly build yourself back into having thoughts that are a thought that you've deliberately had rather than a thought that's having you.
Here's one.
You
Like,
know what
do
I mean?
do you think that excessive use of social media puts us more in the headspace to have that non-intentional thinking, because you're sort of detaching yourself from like the physical world around you and spending hours just like in your head?
Yeah, you're teaching your brain to have racing, darting thoughts from one topic to another is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Is you sat there and you're going, you know, oh, a band that I like is putting something out. That's a funny video of a cat. That's a dance. That's a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
That's another terrorist
So then
attack.
when you're not on the app,
That's another oh my god, what is happening? Aliens are real.
so when you're not on
That's
the
a
app,
cool snake.
your brain still does that with just
Yeah,
other
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, you're walking around and everything's whatever you look at is fucking gonna be guiding your thoughts, isn't it? Because you're used to thinking what you're shown
Yeah.
rather than looking at what you want.
I think
you know what I mean?
I think if the government is gonna fucking intervene in the use of people's social media, right? If they're gonna be intervening in any way, they should intervene for the sake of our own fucking personal. You know, like they discourage like smoking and drinking and like they put tax on it to try and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There needs to be something like along that lines, because it's like
at
mentally
least gambling
terrible for you.
adverts say after all of the fireworks and after all of the fucking roulette wheels spinning round and them going, place an acca, they'll then say responsibly.
Yeah.
Like it's that that isn't enough, but like
maybe
at the same time it's a step, isn't it? But there's nothing like that for social media.
Yeah,
No one goes, hey, by the
there-
way, put your fucking phone
Yeah,
down. You know what
I don't know if it's like some social media, I can't remember which one. Some social media has this, or it's a thing that you can like activate on an iPhone that it'll like pop up and say like, you've been using this app for half an hour, you know what I mean? And sort of like
I think
remind
you can put blockers on for yourself as well, being
But,
like,
like,
it'll if you've used it for more than 5 hours, it'll just stop working because you've took the piss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fucking hell, that's a lot. Imagine sitting on TikTok for 5 hours.
People do though, but it's, 5 hours can be spread out across a day fucking easily. Half an hour, 10 times through the day.
Someone that I know,
You know what I mean?
yeah, someone that I know, right? Jacko was telling me this. I'll tell you who it is later. But Jacko was saying that someone that we sort of know, his screen time was getting up to like 12 hours.
Mad, isn't it?
It's like, what else are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand.
No,
but I was just thinking as well, what I should, after we've done this, I'll go get the content phone and you can have a little look at what Red Note's like, because it's fucking mad. It's like,
so I because I don't use social media anymore, there's only a few apps on my phone that are any use when I'm like on a bus or something. In fact, Actual Times is one of them, because I get it free with the uni.
Right.
And fucking, I was looking on that and it was saying all on there about this TikTok ban's coming in, and how the owner of this app, Red Note, is accepting is like welcoming all of the TikTok refugees because 170 million people had their addiction taken away from them all at the same time. Some of them decided to try a substitute product and go over to Red Note. So I suggested that to Liam, having not looked at this app at all, other than heard that it's going to be potentially the next one.
It's weird though because like I see
it's ridiculous.
But it's just like it's still. You think that it's another Chinese app, right? And you think that there'd be an English version, and it is sort of, but like half of the stuff is still in Chinese, and I don't know what the fuck. But what's mad is like how many Donnies you see. So you open it, and it's like. I've always hated how, when you open TikTok and it just starts playing at you. Like, shut the fuck up and give me a minute. Right?
Let me breathe.
Yeah, like, you open it and it kind of looks more like an Instagram Explore page. So you can click a thumbnail and then you can scroll from there. But, like, just looking at the thumbnails, I'm like, I've seen that Donny on, like, YouTube Shorts or on TikTok or whatever. It's, like, mad how many people have just...
Integrated marketing, lad. Be everywhere. Every single form of media has its ups and downs and its off seasons and on seasons and this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like TV's dying, but the slot after I'm a Celeb probably does all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an advert on TV is still £100,000. Like there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? So like the ones who are turning around and doing that and being on some mad Chinese app because it was in the news.
Yeah.
That people might go to. Like, they probably uploaded all of that in preparation as soon as they heard that TikTok might be going to court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, on the off chance that there's an influx of people, and then even if it's only brief, but 170 million people jump on an app, and your face is there because you're the only one from the West who's on it.
Yeah.
That's a fucking lot of exposure to even have just for a second.
Yeah.
That'll cross over to... If you're everywhere else to the same extent, like, all of the platforms can work together to project the whole thing out, you know?
Yeah. Time ago, this is probably like 3 episodes ago now, which is time ago because we've not been doing these as often as we said we would, but that's
Inconsistent upload schedule, but you know what? Whatever, it'll get busy one day.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I had a list of topics to talk about that were numbered, and I was getting you to pick.
Oh yeah.
Which ones? So.
And I asked you to start doing the fun headlines thing. You started doing that.
I did that for 1 episode, but I can't be fucking arsed doing it again. Because I think there's only 3, and to be honest, I might be able to cross 1 or 2 of those off because I think we've covered stuff.
Okay.
In like one of them was. Like, the music industry is just a big charity now, and we kind of covered that last episode when we were talking about, like, the live music situation.
Yeah, people trying to do stuff for free and for favours.
So,
hot dog and a handshake. Here's a bowl of chips to share between all 5 bands. And that was a good gig.
It's funny, isn't it, how, like, the amount of times, like, I don't drink, so it never really affected me, but the amount of times where they'd be like, oh yeah, there's some bevies in the back for you, and you'd go, and like everyone else would have already had at them, and there was like 1 beer between you and Jabs, and he's like, never mind then, I suppose.
Yeah. Those times where we'd go and they'd give us the leftover shite beers and ciders that no one ever wanted. It's like, lad, there's rust on the lid. What are you giving me? There's cobwebs on these.
Do you... You probably don't still have your beer bottle from the Elephant, do you?
It's at my mum's.
Is it? Oh, that's good. That I hope I've still got mine. I hope Jazzy's still got his. That's funny. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Yeah. Pick a number 1 or 2.
2.
Okay. Speaking of Jabsley. So this is a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a while, just because I think it's like mildly interesting if we're talking about our lives in relation to being artists, and like also the position we're at in the minute, which is like sort of trying to have semi-normal lives, but also be artists as well. And somebody very close to us made the active decision to stop
to exit
the artist path,
yeah,
and just become a normal guy, right? So, for context, for anyone that isn't familiar with Stranger's Law...
Not that these people exist, I don't think that they do.
What do you mean? Like
People that aren't completely familiar with the ebbs and flows of our entire band's history.
You think people who aren't familiar don't exist? You think everyone's familiar?
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody cares.
Well,
but just in case you don't.
Well, yeah, and also the like looking at the fucking viewership numbers on these episodes, the likelihood is if you're watching this, you've seen one before, and the likelihood is if you've seen one before, you've like followed us for a while. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing. Actually, anyone watching this would entirely know all.
Especially like we're like 40 minutes, like half an hour, 40 minutes into an episode. If you've got this far, then you probably already know. But just for anyone who doesn't, so up until 2023, for like the 6 years preceding that, we were a three-piece. And
happy little
throuple with our dear friend Jamie Griffith on drums and on drums and nagging duty.
Yeah.
But in 2023, he decided to. Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because like he decided to part ways with us. But did he? Like, he just decided to move to a different country, and we said, yeah, well, if you move into a different country, you can't be in the band anymore, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I think low-key he's arsey about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
he did half act as if like, oh yeah, when you just kicked me out of the band.
He did say that when you kicked me out of the band, and we had to say you moved to another fucking, like, you moved to a different landmass, lad. Like, there's a whole...
I think,
but it's alright.
So it's basically like what happened was, I guess like over COVID, he was just like shagged, and then he did a year abroad in Germany post COVID, and after that, having enjoyed his time in Germany and found a bird over there, was like, yeah, lads, I think I want a fucking normal life. Which like I don't begrudge him either, because like it's hard what we do.
Like his placement year, didn't he? And this was around when Predator came out, which is our hit single.
Yeah.
And he was over there while we were working on it. And then we worked on a bunch of other stuff with the intention of him coming back to, carry on working on it. He came back from his gap year, but the intention was for him to go back to Germany because he'd fell in love with the place and he'd fell in love with the woman, and he wanted to go and experience his whole German life teaching in a school. Teaching English was his goal. Which he then quit so that he could become a rental car
salesman. But it's neither here nor there. Anyway,
neither here nor there. But he has fully exited the arts.
Yeah, like he doesn't have a drum kit anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah, he literally doesn't engage with any of it at all.
When he comes back to England, which he said he's planning to do, he will teach music. I think he wants to start like a little music school or whatever.
It's just crazy that, and I'm sure that we
do you want to
the crazy bit
do you want to speak any more not into the mic?
The fucking crazy. It's just, he gets me so, because I worry about this kid. It's like he had a job teaching drums to kids in England.
Right.
And then he moved to Germany so that he could teach English to kids in Germany. And then he left that so that he could rent cars to adults in Germany so that he can gather enough money to move to England to teach drums to kids. At a certain point, there's been a lot of fuck about.
Yeah, there has.
You know what I mean?
There has.
But then, to be fair, his girlfriend is from Georgia, living in Germany, so there's a whole thing to get them over here. But like, it was a whole thing to get him there. He spent the past year struggling and complaining and like, stressing over getting citizenship in Germany, and then the moment that he's been given citizenship, he's gone, I fucking hate it here. I want to move back to the UK.
But that is a lot of fuck about, right? But the thing,
which is funny,
the shit to hone in on, right?
Yeah,
that's pertinent to like this as the Starving Artist podcast is, well, there's 2 points, right? There's one is like how that affected us, like both on a artistic and a personal level, which we'll get into in a sec. And there's also the point of like he made that decision that I don't think I could ever make, to be like, okay, I'm just completely not gonna do music anymore, right? And he's been a musician since he was like, I think he started playing younger than me, since he was like 4 or 5,
He was the
right?
longest.
And he was also the most like technically proficient, and like he was like the actual best musician.
He was
in
good
the band.
enough to teach it.
Well, exactly,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
But then
Like-
but then they do say that those that can't do teach,
Well,
and those
then
that can't teach rent cars.
No, the ones that can teach and don't want to rent cars.
Yeah.
The ones that can't do or teach get the bus.
Right, yeah. But like, I don't. Where do you stand on that? Because I think.
What, so like creatively, and then also.
Well, yeah. So let's
personally, how do I feel
let's
it's
talk
affected
creatively first, because like I think for the longest time probably wouldn't have understood his decision, but by the time it actually came to him leaving, I was like, for fucks, like what we're trying to do is dead difficult. It's taking its toll on me. So that means it's also taking its toll on you. And if you want out because of that, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's not a decision I think I could make. Where do you stand on that?
on whether or not I could make the same decision that he's made.
Yeah, and the thoughts on his decision. You know what I mean?
Thoughts
Like,
on his
what did
decision.
you think about his decision at the time?
He spoke to me before he spoke to you about it.
He did.
He spoke to me and asked how we should speak to you about it because he knew that you'd be devoed over it. Whereas I was sound about it. I've seen quite a lot of people come and go from this band.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean?
so have I. But
And
like
what he was saying was like, he was saying, yeah, I wanna go back to Germany. Well, even for the first gap year, he came and spoke to me about it and was like, I want to do this thing where I go Germany. I was like, lad, if that's what you want to do, don't let me stop you. Like it, if we'd have kept him here, based on
not that we had the power to keep
not
him.
that we had the power, but if we'd have like been all difficult with him and made it a whole thing and tried to pressure him to stay, either he'd have gone and he'd have never spoke to us again,
Mhm.
or he'd have stayed and hated us for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, well then, if that's what you want to do, go enjoy Germany, my friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't really too like, because the thing is as well is that, say after the first gap year that he'd done there, and then he came back here and said, "Oh, I want to go back." It's like we half knew that was coming anyway, and we'd already got good at working together.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh well then, like,
Do you think?
it's been a pleasure being in a band with you for so long." You know what I mean?
With the benefit of hindsight, do you think that when he did the gap year, we should have just said, yeah, like, it's clear that this is going to be a thing that you want to do. Maybe you should step aside and we'll just do the two of us. Because I think I remember saying to him when we had the talk about him doing the gap year,
Are you gonna do that? And he said, "No, I'm gonna come back afterwards. It's temporary." And
yeah, and,
So
and
we
he did come
waited.
back, but only for a year,
yeah,
and then left again.
well, and then we did sit on a lot of music,
Yeah.
waiting for him to come back because it was going to be songs that would require his input.
And we were still doing stuff, and like me and you would work
Yeah.
on stuff, and we'd have him on over Zoom or whatever. But it was a slow progress year.
Yeah, and then because we were still expecting that, and then he went. Once he'd gone, we then had to find other means of doing the stuff that we would have normally done. We had to buy new equipment, learn how to use that new equipment, download new programs, learn how to use them.
Yeah, learn how
So-
to be a two-piece, which we would have had to do anyway.
We
but
would have had to do
We
anyway.
kind of wasted a year.
And yeah, it's one of them where it's like, looking at the whole situation now, it would have been nice to have known that this is how it was going to pan out so that we could do that
Yeah.
while he was on that year. And then he could have maybe even just fucking stayed in Germany and not come back thinking, oh, yeah, no, I'll do this again.
Yeah.
But that's not how it panned out. He probably genuinely did think this is only going to last a year, because part of the decision was the fact that he'd found a relationship out there and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like he didn't know when he was going out there that he was going to find a relationship that was going to make him want to go back.
Yeah.
So how was he going to be able to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as far as he was concerned, there's a year time limit on his time in Germany. And then he's back home having lived in Germany for a year.
Things change in a year, don't they, I suppose? Like, you can't make that decision beforehand.
Yeah, things change. And then, the in-between time, he tried. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he was, he was wanting to go back by that point. So it's all right. You know what I mean?
I think, like, just to touch on what you said about, like, people coming and going within the band, that is true.
Yeah.
But I think the reason that
it feels more significant with Jamie because we still
yeah,
like,
he was
keep
like
contact.
Yeah, he was first, like, that was the longest lineup. You know what I mean? People came and went at the start, but then, like, once it was me, you, and Jamie, it didn't change from me, you, and Jamie for 6 years. You know what I mean? And also, like, so not only was like he was the third member of our friend group, but also I think it was like when I pictured us like making it, it was that us. You know what I mean? And then, like, I was like, fuck, well, like, now I have to completely adjust my perceived future of what this could be because he's not there, and like we have to adjust how we work. And also, like, I don't know, it just like it changed from being, I think when Jamie left, it changed from being what Strangers was initially to, like, we're still Strangers now, obviously, but like it's a different thing.
Yeah.
We sound different, we look different, it's a different setup. And only now, like, literally in the past, like, 2 months, have we got to a point where
we have
we're
an
like,
identity of what this is now.
Yeah, as the two piece, and like we know how to work as that.
Just in time for me to turn 27. Get me famous this year so I can finally fulfill the prophecy.
Do you? Like, one of the things he said when he was leaving, one of the things he said to me as well, that maybe this wasn't actually when he was leaving. I think this was maybe in the year between when he'd come back, and we were like rehearsing to record the last couple of tunes for what would be the collection. I think maybe only Give It Up made it on out of those sessions or whatever.
You might be right.
But
one of them will be on the deluxe version.
It will.
Which is coming way later on.
But one of the things, I think there was a rehearsal that you weren't at where me and him just went in because we still needed to get shit done. And it was like we'd been slogging out trying to work out tunes for a bit and like trying to get the mojo back once he'd come back. And we had a break and we were stood outside Aloe, and he was like, I'm not having fun. And I was like, I'm not having fun either. But like, this is just where we're at the minute. Like, we're in the grafting phase. We're trying to get all this sorted so that we can get signed or get a manager or whatever. And he was like, I'm just worried that, he was like, I fucking love music and I love like listening to music and being into music and I like playing music. And he was just like, I'm worried that my enjoyment of music as a whole will eventually become tainted by like if we carry on down this path of like it not being fun. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that year that he was back from Germany, and we were in that little room at Aloe, just every so often practicing wherever we could, trying to get things like well. In his year away, there was periods where he'd come back over like Christmas or whatever as well.
Yeah.
And I just remember it being this frantic effort to catch up on time and get things done before the next bout of awayness or busyness or this or that. And I do remember that time period whenever I'd be in the room practicing with you being like, this feels stressful. Like, this doesn't... Like, we'd be writing a song and we'd just be arguing over how, like, part of it should fucking go. And it's like, we could listen back to both versions of that song now that ended up being, like, the versions that we were between.
Doesn't
And
really matter.
we did do that. We literally picked one of them and went, that one will do, won't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
both fine. But we were spending like a month butting heads every
Yeah.
week, being like, no, it needs to be like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And I think like, and it wasn't even like malicious butting heads or anything. Like we weren't
I
like
think it
having
was
goes at
there
each other.
was
It was
just
just
all
like,
the tension. It was clear to us that Jamie wanted to be back in Germany.
yeah,
And it was clear to him that he wanted that, but also we enjoy each other's company and we enjoy doing music with each other. But it's also something that we've been saying is a fucking career.
yeah. And
So like he's there being like, so I'm here trying to do this thing seriously, like it's a career, but also like it's for fun, but also it's keeping me away from what I really want.
yeah. And I think
You know what I mean?
at the time I was just like, oh, like, you know, it's just part of the graft, you know what I mean? And like maybe it
Yeah.
was because there's been parts like even since he left, I guess most of since he left were like, it's not been that creatively fulfilling for us, but we've been doing it for the graft because we've been
Yeah.
trying to achieve certain things. We've had to put like time into other areas.
But as of late, since the new year and since around Christmas, we have, I think, turned a bit of a corner
Yeah, for sure,
with it
for sure.
and said to ourselves, if it's not creatively fulfilling, it can fuck off.
Yeah, 'cause
Like-
especially like the age we're getting to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of them. You got to be actually making something
Which-
that feels worthwhile.
Like,
Otherwise,
what about on a personal level? Like, did you? Because obviously you say like he spoke to you first, and you were like, "Well, I'm not gonna fucking hold you back. Like, I don't give a shit or whatever." Like, how did it change? How do you think it changed your relationship with Jamie, but also like what you perceived the band to be going forwards? Like, did you worry at any point that we were like, "Oh, we might have to fucking dub this in"?
nah. I wasn't worried at all. Like, I was sad that he was going.
Yeah.
I was like, that sucks. Like, you know, it's been a pleasure. Enjoyed having you along for the ride. But the band did exist before Jamie came into it.
That is true.
We have had people leave before.
Yeah.
There was a point where it was just me and you in a room discussing how are we going to find other people to be in a band with us.
Yeah.
And now we've been on this journey of fucking 5 different band members all coming and going, and one of them staying for 6 years and then moving to a different fucking country. It's like, fucking cunt. But moving to a different country, it's like like he was, and when he first told me he was going to be going away for a year, and I was like, son, I'd go away for a year.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And then he came back and was like, oh, I want to go back. And it's like, well, we've just done a year without you anyway. It's
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was never in a position where I was like, this might be it for the whole thing. We might stop making music. It's like, we've not gone anywhere. We've got a full-on fucking studio. You know what I mean? Like, we've got all this shit still available.
What was your view on his like reasonings and stuff? Like, could you see where he was coming from?
Yeah. Like, he wanted to go and explore the world a little bit and explore possibilities for his life. Like, what we're doing is a very difficult thing to achieve the final goal of. Like, if you're not sure that you want to be on that train and you want to go and explore something else, like,
Yeah.
by all means, far be it for me to request that you fucking stay and explore all of the, like, because the thing is, by that point, we hadn't even really had Predator fucking happen yet when he first went away.
Yeah.
Like, that started drumming up interest while he was away.
Mhm.
So it's like, it's one of them. There's really no reason for you to stay, mate. Like, if you want to go and explore this thing, like, this would be a fucking stupid reason for you to not.
Yeah, because
You know what I mean?
either way, it was a gamble, wasn't it? Either he stayed
Yeah.
and gambled on this, or he fucking gambled by taking a chance and trying something new.
Yeah, like, say, I've not done out like that because it's not my heart's desire to go and move to a different country on my own.
Yeah.
I like doing this and going and doing whatever else I do and then coming back and doing this, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy the way that my life is, so I'm chilling. But like, fucking, you know, the point that we were at that time, we were proper like, this is the motive, this is the career, and we still want it to be our career, but we're also adults now. We're like
more accepting of the fact that we might have to put time into other shit.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Whereas at the time, it was like you're either in or you're not. So
Yeah.
he was, I don't know, probably a little bit stressed with that
Yeah.
decision as well.
Well, yeah,
Like,
and
he was coming to me from a position of stress, being like, how should I go about this? Like, should I go or am I being selfish? And I was like, no, lad, like, if
yeah,
this at that time, we'd had no interest in fuck all.
yeah,
So it'd be a mad thing to turn down a really good once in a lifetime opportunity to stay and continue experiencing fuck all.
yeah.
It's like, nah, mate, if you've got the opportunity to do that, go for it. Now it's like, well, we've had a little bit of experience with, we know that we can drum up interest with it. We know that we can make progressively good songs.
Mhm.
We enjoy doing it. So it's, a different vibe there. But
I think I was more. Well, I understand that why he was stressed about telling me about when he was going away for the first year, because the only thing that slightly resembles that beforehand would been him telling us that he was going to university,
that you didn't like.
which I was like pissed about, because I was like,
yeah, but see, again, at that point, he said to us, like, I want to go uni, I want to go Manny, I want to move there, I'll come back for, like, band, like, and all, all that stuff.
should have fucking kicked him out there, Rich.
And you were like, oh, it's going to distract you from, like, the band stuff. But during that time, we made, like, all the midnight driving and shit.
Yeah.
Like, and it was one of them where it was like, well, lad, if you want to go and do uni, your band is a stupid reason not to.
Well, I don't know. Maybe not if... It depends, because, like, I think he wanted to be certain that he would have something else to do outside of music. Like, he didn't want to teach music for the whole rest of his life, which, by the way, fucking dickhead. Like, he's coming back, you know what I mean? Anyway.
It's so stupid. You're not rejoining the fucking band
this
now
whole
with
shit
shit,
could have been,
you know what I mean?
could have been circumvented fucking 4 years ago. Anyway, like, I understand the uni thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, the reason I didn't go to uni and the reason you probably didn't go for so long was because you were like, we're trying to do this. Let's put our time and energy into this rather than split ourselves.
I was always cool with him doing it because he was always like, I'm going to make time to...
He made the dedication, to be fair.
But, like, by the time it came to him saying, I want to move to Germany, it's like, we've had so many experiences of I want to move here, I want to move there. It's like, do whatever you want, lad. Sound.
Yeah. Well, that's like,
you're gonna anyway, bro.
Like, by the time it got to him going for the gap year, I wasn't happy about it, but also I think our friendships had developed to a point where I was like, I know that he's had a rough time over COVID. I know that he needs to do this for him. And that's fine. But I also did say to him when we were having the talks of when he was maybe going to move there full time, I said, like, you need to understand that if you decide to do this, I don't think we can be friends anymore. Because I was like, you've wasted a lot of my time with this back and forth. Yeah. And this is something that I genuinely care about. But even then, when it did come to move, I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to talk to my best friend because he's moving away. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think also, like, it's putting yourself in that other person's shoes. It's like, if a fucking perfect opportunity comes along, like, opportunities don't come along that often.
Yeah,
you have to grasp at them. So if he's, he spoke German for years, and then the opportunity came up to teach English in Germany.
Yeah.
He wanted to do it.
Does seem a bit like a waste given his current predicament, but,
It does, but at the same time, it's like, it's like, it's guided a lot of how he's going to live his life going forward. It's something that he genuinely desired to do when the opportunity was there. And it's not like the opportunity was going to come back around anytime soon to do it in any easier way. So it's like, it's one of them where, say if the covers band that you're working with, if they turned around and went, we've got this opportunity, a load of dough, you're going to be going on tour around America for a year.
Yeah.
I'd probably still work on tunes with you when you got back from a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, And I'd hope that, like, you know, if I got offered some opportunity to be like, oh yeah, do you want to go and work like over there for fucking like 6 months, a year, whatever the fuck, like one of them. It's like if it was a perfect opportunity, I wouldn't want to pass up on it, because at the end of the day, it's like it's your whole life, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and I think definitely now the position we're in, but I think at the time, because we were younger and we were still very much like in the band thing of it.
Yeah.
Whereas like now, me and you are both pursuing other things outside of this band for potential career opportunities. Whereas at the time, it was like
this or nothing.
Yeah, like you were working shite jobs, and aside from the shite jobs, there was the band. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm working this shite job while I do the band.
Yeah, I'm facilitating the band with my shite job.
Yeah. Whereas now you're like, you're doing the shite job, but you're also doing uni and the band.
I'm doing the shite job to facilitate eating while I get an education, which will get me a proper job that hopefully will help the band. you know?
So, to close off, do you foresee yourself, obviously, like we've said, like if like a big opportunity comes along that means you have to like move or whatever, then it'll probably fizzle out. But do you think you'd do a Jabsy in the sense of like, I don't think I want to do music at all, like I don't think that's the path for me?
Listen, if WWE hire me as a script writer, I'm piecing the fuck out, and I'm not even going to front about that. Otherwise, I quite want to live somewhere like Chester.
Yeah.
And do little bits of creative bits here and there, and do hobbies and live a little comfortable little life. Like, there was a point where what I wanted was a castle, and now I kind of would like a cottage instead.
Yeah.
But like,
it's a good metaphor.
No, but it's very real. I really did very much want a castle. Now I realise that would be quite a lot of space to clean.
Yeah.
I can't really be arsed with that. You'd have to hire a lot of staff to get that rich. You've got to be a pretty evil dude. Yeah. So, like, fuck that. I'll have a cottage where I've got a greenhouse where I can grow my own veg for my meals. You know what I mean? Like, do little bits of work and do little bits of creative stuff and do little bits of hobbies. And
I think, like,
what was the question?
Do you
I
think
see
you'd ever
myself
fuck it
up
off?
in sticks and fucking off? Yeah. So it's either going to be that, living in the northwest near everyone that I'm asked about and fucking, or I don't know. Part of me would like to live in somewhere hot that's that's cheap.
Hey, me and Abby
and work remote from somewhere cheap.
I
I
literally said to Abby the other day, because we were driving around and we were just like, I'm fucking sick of this bullshit. Like, it's grey and rainy and cold all the time.
There is a huge part of me that wants to just move to Greece.
Yeah,
and work on my laptop.
I said to her, I was like, me and you will give our careers another like year or two, and if it's still nothing crazy's happened, we'll find some sort of remote work and just fuck off.
Yeah,
because that'd be ideal. Like, mate, if I had a job that allowed it, I'd move to Australia at some point. I think, you know what I mean? Like, if it was like the band's definitely not going to happen.
So it's one of them. I was saying, oh yeah, no, I'll do this forever unless WWE call, or I get a remote job that I can do from Greece.
Yeah.
And a really nice house there. And then that might entice me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like, a house with a pool next to the beach might get me to fuck off. No!
We just lost video, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to carry on audio-wise. We're going to close off the podcast. It's fine. It's fine. Well, actually, we just lost video, which means that we probably lost video about 5 minutes ago because that video won't have saved. But
do you know what though? Yeah, it's fully dead. Oh my God!
It's come back to life. Imagine if that just didn't save. Right? Imagine if that just didn't save. Oh, it's dead. Oh. It's not even that the battery's dead, it's just being a cunt. Anyway, right, well, we've lost video, probably time ago.
Do you know what we should start doing? We'll start doing it now.
Just doing audio podcasts.
On the video version, right, whenever it cuts to black like that, we should have it come up on the screen like a countdown until we notice that the video was gone off, and that'll signify at the end of the episode.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
What were we on about? What was the last point?
We were just talking about like when we when we'll doss it in. But
yeah, I'll probably jack it in if I can get a house with a pool by the beach, or if I can get a WWE contract.
Well, yeah, the only point that I was going to say was I think I'm at a point where, like, because I'm trying to do other musical things, it's like, how can I make money off music to facilitate me just dossing about creatively? You know what I mean? Like, if I can make enough money to just get by playing gigs and then spend the rest of my time, like, making the things that I want to make, whether that's with you or, like, if you fuck off, I'll just still do it by myself. Like, it's something I'll always do in it. But, yeah, right. Well, that's the end of the fucking pod, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for the lack of video for probably the last few minutes.
Stay hungry or whatever. I don't fuck.
Yeah. Stay hungry or whatever.
Yeah. Or don't.
Or have
eat.
a meal. Treat yourself, man.
Treat yourself.
2025.
Grow like me.
Peace.